Lafayette's House Medical Laboratory, my preferred choice for professional and confidential medical laboratory services. Lafayette provides results for all medical tests. If it can't be done there, they will facilitate it through their international partners. Their main office in Roseau is open from 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mondays to Fridays and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Home visits and emergency services are also available. Call 448-0100, WhatsApp 276-5213 or visit any of their locations. Cross Street, Roseau, Pickard, Portsmouth, Marigot or Grand Bay. Lafayette's House Medical Laboratory. My choice, your choice, our choice.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, Health Minister Kasani Laville has welcomed a new cohort of Cuban medical collaborators to Dominica. In news from the region, teachers at the UWI Mona campus in Jamaica set to strike on Monday, and internationally, Supreme Court allows Trump to revoke legal status for over 500,000 migrants. Welcome to the DBS Evening News. It is the 30th day of May 2025. The details of these and other stories coming up.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued. Like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
DBS News.
Welcome to the DBS Evening News. I am your presenter this evening. My name is Joseph Fadul. First up this evening, Dominica's Health Minister Kasani Laville has welcomed a new cohort of Cuban medical collaborators to Dominica. The Health Minister wrote on his Facebook page that on Thursday, 29th May, as part of Constituency Day, he sometimes makes a visit to the Dominica China Friendship Hospital to visit with people from his constituency. Laville said while there, he had the pleasure of meeting the new batch of dedicated Cuban medical collaborators who are starting their orientation. According to Laville, the commitment of the Cuban medical team to serve in Dominica, despite the sacrifices of leaving their families behind, truly exemplifies the spirit of compassion. Laville thanked the Cuban medical team for embodying the essence of dedication and service. The Dominica Public Service Union DPSU will hold a meeting with its members next week to discuss the ongoing salary negotiations with the government. General Secretary of the union, Thomas Leta, says that the government has proposed an 8% salary increase for public officers.
Since we started negotiating with the government of Dominica, that's the first time, since we did meet some resubmission, that's the first time we'll be meeting with the members, and that is on the 3rd of this month coming, June. And the last time we met with government's proposal is 8% in terms of the salary increase, 3, 2, and 3. That is for 24-27. So I mean the triennium 24-27. Government is not willing to give a salary increase for the first triennium 21-24. We came up with some proposals which they have not accepted. We have, however, been able to make a lot of progress on some of the non-salary matters. Some of them are long-term benefits, and we are happy about that.
General Secretary of the Dominica Public Service Union, Thomas Slater. Director of Public Prosecutions, Sherma Dalrymple, has discontinued a murder case against two brothers from the Petit Savan community. The men who were on bail will no longer stand trials. Ronaldo Luke reports.
Chassery Thomas and Gary Thomas were jointly indicted for the murder of Stockley Antoine, also of Petit Savan. It is alleged that on September 26, 2021, at Ravenshall Petitsavan, the two men inflicted stab wounds on the 41-year-old, resulting in his death. Attorney Joshua Francis, who has represented the accused men since the beginning of the case, consistently argued that the incident was one of self-defense. Both men had pleaded not guilty to the indictment during their arraignment, and the matter was set for trial. However, on the day scheduled for the commencement of the trial, the prosecution informed the court of a notice of discontinuance filed by the DPP, effectively bringing the proceedings to a close. A notice of discontinuance was also filed in the separate matter of QC George, who had been indicted for shooting with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Also at the High Court, murder accused Kurt Charles was recently freed after High Court Judge Justice Colin Williams upheld a no-case submission. Charles had been indicted for the October 20th, 2017 murder of 52-year-old Eddie James, known as Wadada, in the community of Silver Lake. He pleaded not guilty and had been on trial for 7 days. The prosecution, led by the DPP, called 7 witnesses before closing its case. Notably, the state's key witness testified that on October 20th, 2017, she saw Charles firing shots from a firearm, and thereafter, she noticed James on the ground groaning. However, Justice Williams described this witness testimony as inconsistent and weak. Despite the DPP's argument that the truthfulness of the testimony had to remain in the province of the jury and that it was for the jury to decide what weight to give to the evidence, Justice Williams found that the evidence was insufficient. Defense attorneys David Bruni and Tihani B. Hansen had submitted a no-case motion challenging the sufficiency of the prosecution's evidence. They argued that it was inadequate to warrant the matter proceeding to the jury for deliberation. Justice Williams agreed and directed the 9-member jury to return a formal not guilty verdict, which they did, freeing Charles immediately. The DPP has since stated that it is in the public's interest that the Court of Appeal decide on this matter, especially given the increase in firearm-related murders in Dominica. Ronaldo Luke reporting for DBS News.
In more news this evening, a recent survey conducted by the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce DAIC has revealed that many businesses in Dominica continue to grapple with rising operational costs, cash flow challenges, and limited access to finance. The survey, which was conducted between April and May 2025, gathered input from 42 businesses representing a wide range of sectors, including tourism, wholesale and retail distribution, manufacturing, amongst others. Executive Director of the DAIC, Ashma McDougall, emphasized some key findings of the report.
Many of the respondents reported ongoing challenges related to the rising cost of inputs, as well as recruitment difficulties, and importantly, energy costs. We recognized that most businesses remain resilient, but many are under pressure from the rising input costs and as well limited access to financing. A key finding from the survey was relative to gender representation in management. And from our survey, 65% of the top managers in Dominica, or the top management roles, are held by women, which is a strong indicator of female leadership across industries. And so, while this is commendable, it's also a key for concern with regards to participation rates in formal employment among men. Businesses also reported a polarized sales performance, and we had over 40% of businesses seeing a decline in sales compared to the first quarter of 2024. And while cash flow pressures are mounting, with nearly 1/3 experiencing worsening financial conditions, on the flip side, 1/3 also cited that they experienced greater cash flows.
McDougall says there is need for greater partnership to address some of the challenges facing businesses in Dominica.
So the Chamber calls for stronger collaboration between the public and private sectors to tackle these systemic issues. And what we want to recognize for future surveys is broader participation. We want to take an approach to have greater participation by sector, and so we want to ensure we can actually target agricultural officers and as well do more groundwork to meet with businesses on the ground, regardless of them being a member or not, to ensure that we can have greater representation and participation in this survey. We also encourage individuals to participate in the upcoming quarterly survey. We are at the end of Q2, and so the Chamber will look to receive feedback from the wide membership and as well from the wider population in regards to potential questions that could be reflected in the upcoming survey. We recognize that these insights form a critical basis for targeted policy dialogue, and with the formation of the Public-Private Sector Collaborative Committee, we recognize that this is where strategic interventions aimed at enhancing private sector competitiveness and resilience can come from.
Executive Director of the DAIC, Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, Ashma McDougall. Outgoing President of the National Cooperative Credit Union, McDowell Paul, says the future of the institution is encouraging. His statement came as the NCCU, National Cooperative Credit Union, reported a surplus of $4.1 million for the financial year. He said the NCCU welcomed 800 new members for the financial year.
Looking ahead, the future of NCCU is bright. Our 2024-2027 strategic plan outlines ambitious yet achievable goals across the 5 foundational pillars. 1. Excellent member services. 2. Loan growth. 3. Delinquency management. 4. Diversification of income stream. And 5. Staff development and welfare. As we move into 2025, we are already progressing with key initiatives such as the construction of the La Salette branch, the launch of the NCCU virtual branch, and the NCCU digital transformation project. While we celebrate, let us also acknowledge the wins we have weathered. The global financial landscape remains volatile, marked by cyber threats, inflationary pressures, and shifting members' expectations. Maintaining a strong balance between growth and managing delinquency requires our continuous attention and strategic focus.
Meantime, the NCCU has renamed its Merit Scholarship after former President Josephine Dublin.
As a cooperative, our commitment extends far beyond financial performance, guided by the cooperative principle number 7, concern for community. We continue to invest in initiatives that make a positive impact across Dominica. Our scholarship program remains a cornerstone of our educational outreach, supporting 89 students in 2024, bringing the total number of beneficiaries since its inception to 207. In recognition of our outstanding contribution to the society, we are pleased to rename the NCCU Merit Scholarship to the Josephine Dublin Scholarship. Congratulations, Mrs. Dublin. Our dedication to corporate social responsibility was further demonstrated by doubling the value of our sponsorship and donations to community-based groups, organizations, and institutions in 2024, reaching over $200,000.
Outgoing President of the NCCU, McDowell Paul. In an effort to strengthen Dominica's emergency response and disaster preparedness, Israel Aid Dominica has successfully trained 12 individuals as certified instructors in first aid and CPR. The newly certified instructors were trained by the St. John's Association of St. Lucia. They are now qualified to deliver certified training to others across the island, creating a ripple effect of life-saving knowledge and skills within communities, schools, and response teams. To support hands-on learning as well, Israel Aid also handed over 2 professional mannequin collection kits to the Office of Disaster Management and the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Service. Each kit includes adult, child, and infant mannequins, as well as AED training devices, providing realistic, practical training opportunities for responders and community leaders alike. A stalwart of the Dominica Labour Party says the party's 70th anniversary rally at Dubla on Sunday is an opportunity for Dominicans to show gratitude to the Dominica Labour Party DLP. Mr. Reginald Austri, the former housing minister who served as parliamentary representative for Cottage for 6 terms, says the Dominica Labour Party DLP was confronted with major challenges before being able to revive the fortunes of the population. The DLP is celebrating its 70th anniversary.
And so coming in at the time, our first order of business was to restore the credibility. And during that process, remember, we also lost 2 prime ministers. And so the weight of moving this country out of the doldrum where it was, we had to get the country out of the mess in which we met it and then begin the development process. But in that time, we were set back by a number of human and natural factors. So trying to get out of the melee in which we were then, we had several setbacks. But because of the tenacity and the leadership of Roosevelt Skerrit and an understanding of the party as to what was required at that time, we were able to persevere to the point where we are today. That men almost forgot that there was a Hurricane Maria. But people forgot there was a Maria because there is very little on this landscape to remind you of Hurricane Maria. The pandemic. I mean, see how we got out of the pandemic. And the development programs that are taking place now is not the sign of a country that was in so much devastation, even from the economic melees of the 1995-2000 period. And so that is what I believe that we have to draw the attention of the Dominican people to. And that's why I believe the 70th anniversary rally and celebration is very, very important, because it's an opportunity for us to remind the Dominican people from whence we came, where we were when we came in, and what we have done, and where we have taken this country in terms of housing, in terms of healthcare, in terms of infrastructure development. The new airport, something that generations of Dominicans have been looking forward to, geothermal energy.
Former housing minister and stalwart of the Dominica Labour Party, Reginald Austri. We've come to the end of the local news. We have some regional and international news coming up next.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued, like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're prioritizing you, our valued customers who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim up to $400 in rewards for smartphones, groceries, and more when you add mobile to your current internet plan. Because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.
DBS News.
Welcome back in news from the region. The West Indies group of University Teachers, WIGUT, says its members at the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus will be striking on Monday in response to a proposed reduction in benefits. The group says the university has revealed a mandate to reduce health and pension benefits for employees joining the staff on or after 1st of August 2025. The mandate was reportedly issued by the Council of the University of the West Indies to UWI Mona campus. The union, maintained that it would immediately suspend the industrial action once a written statement is made by the university that is putting the reduction on hold. Internationally, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that the U.S. President Donald Trump's administration can temporarily revoke the legal status of over 500,000 migrants living in the U.S. The ruling put on hold a previous federal judge's order stopping the administration from ending the quote parole unquote immigration program established by former President Joe Biden. Well, the program protected immigrants fleeing economic and political turmoil in their home countries. The new order puts roughly 530,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela at risk of being deported. We've come to the end of the evening news. We have the best in sports coming up next. Stay tuned.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rude
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome to the Evening Sports Report. Once again, I am your presenter. My name is Joseph Fadul. Cricket bowls off the first knock on sports, where England have taken a 1-0 lead in their one-day international ODI series against the West Indies after securing a comfortable win on Friday as that series got underway. Well, England batted first and made 345 for 6 in their 50 overs. Amy Jones got 122 and Tammy Beaumont 107 as England put on 2-2-2 for the first wicket. Well, Hayley Matthews picked up 2 for 49 and Afi Fletcher 2 for 65. The Windies, needing 346 with their fragile batting lineup, actually got off to a decent start and were 91 for 0, but couldn't maintain the innings and were bowled out for 237. Kiana Joseph made 62 and Hayley Matthews 48. Lindsay Smith took 5 for 36. The West Indies lost by 108 runs. The second ODI is on Wednesday for the ladies. Staying with some more cricket, West Indies head coach Darren Sammy says the team has to put the setbacks from the first ODI behind them and focus on the second match against England. His comment follows the West Indies' disastrous performance as they went down to England by 238 runs in the first ODI. The Windies were bowled out for 162, chasing 401 for victory.
We were really outplayed today by a team that is also searching for their new identity. But that display, that was just not good enough. You know, we've played a better brand of cricket over the last 15 to 18 months. And we just find ourselves finding it hard to start away from home, which is something we have to rectify. It's good when batsmen play out of their skin, but when you know you have a plan and you've not really given it a chance to work, that's the most annoying thing, you know. And today, our bowlers were not disciplined enough. We saw how, you know, England came out and stuck to a simple plan. You know, it's a plan that. It's a wicket that requires you to be straight and use the square boundaries from a straight line. They showed us how it's done. So again, it's our skills were not on par in any of the power plays. You know, not to start. We were chasing the game from early. I mean, 90 runs in the first 10. You always find yourself on the defensive. And we were playing catch up from then.
West Indies head coach Darren Sammy. Let's move to some athletics news now. A team of 18 athletes will represent the Pioneers Athletics Club and Dominica by extension at a meet in St. Lucia this weekend. The team left stateside Friday. Team coach Cedric Harris says the club will participate in a number of age group events. He says he is anticipating a good showing from the club at the 4th annual Makiba Alcid track and field events.
The team will be led by Cedric Harris, coach, and chaperone Miss Mahala Riley, and safeguarding officer Miss Cleopatra Latham. Also accompanying us will 18 athletes, and these athletes will be participating in different categories: under 7, under 13, under 16, and open male and female. Some of the names that was likely to pop up in the results will be Akisha Luke, Miralda Thomas, Shakan Stedman, Jeremiah Rennie, Jonathan Richards, to name a few.
President of the Pioneers Athletics Club, Cedric Harris. Let's bowl back to some cricket news, this time from the Dream 11 T10 tournament. Head coach of the Indian River Rowers franchise, Augustine Beno Pascal, believes his team has the tools to make some noise at the upcoming Dream 11 Nature Isle T10 tournament. Well, the 7th edition of the competition gets underway July 13th at the Windsor Park. Pascal says he is excited with the players that will be joining the franchise this year.
For us, it was a pleasing thing to be able to have Stephen Natram back with us. As you know, he played with us for the first part of the Dream 11, and we are very excited to have him back. We also wanted to add, there's a saying in cricket that batsmen win you games, but bowlers win you championships. So we were able to get in John Ifield, who's one of the top guys in that type of cricket around the region, around the Caribbean, and we were able to secure him, and we are very happy with that. With regards to the local talent, most of them, these are guys I would have known, I would have coached in my club summits and stuff, so it was a foregone conclusion to just get them on board, and we can continue working together. We've been having a very exciting year thus far, and the work will just continue in July.
Head coach of the Indian River Rowers team, Augustine Beno Pascal. The Rowers will have Kyron Phillip as their nature boy. The overseas-based players are Ryan John, Stephen Natram, and Jamar Ifield. They will also have Jason Vidal, Neo Davis, Yohani Regis, Jelani Joseph, Elton Mack, Gary Daniel, Diony Roll, Owen Burton, and McKelly Bernard. Meantime, the Valley Hikers are confident heading into the upcoming tournament. The Hikers were able to draft the explosive Cheyenne Brathwaite and will also have Ryshon Williams at their disposal. Well, here is Hikers coach Ray Kazimi.
I think that we're confident in the guys that we selected. I just hope that come this T10 we do better this year. We were champions 2 years in a row. I just hope that when the players that we picked come good, and some of them in the T10s out there are doing well. So I just pray that our players go there and do well. Everything went the way we planned. All people like Cheyenne, comes in this T10 and dominate. He's a very hard-hitting player, batsman, and even, some of them I doesn't know. St. Paul, we know, can do it for us. He has been doing it in the T10s outside there. I back them in picking him, so I'm just looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Valley Hikers coach Ray Kazmi. The Hikers team is Micah Joseph, Ryson Williams, Cheyenne Brathwaite, Brian Joseph, Kazmi Benjamin, Donald Dupeny, Jason Lamotte, Savio Anselm, Jamie James, Kervell Marie, Javel St. Paul, Cody Peltier, and Alvinson Jolly. Let's now kick off to some football news. The Dominica Football Association DFA is hopeful that work on the covering of the stands and other amenities at the DFA Technical Center will get underway in the coming months. DFA General Secretary Jasmine Vidal-Matthew says the project has encountered a minor delay. She says she is hopeful that there should be some progress by early June.
It's frankly taking more time than we anticipated. We're working with a consultant. The firm is Pendec, and we've had a few delays. So we're really hoping that at least by mid next month, we have some more traction in terms of the drawings, the designs. We already have preliminary designs, but just finalizing things. There were some challenges because from what we found out was that the building code changed. So the plans that were already in motion had to be revisited because the code changed. It's a big project, so a lot of different particularities had to shift as well. And obviously with that, you have quantities and all of those different things that would make the project cohesive and complete. The goalposts had to be shifted a little bit, so that as well contributes to the delay. But we're hoping that mid next month, optimistically, hopefully worst case scenario by the end of June, we have that sorted out, and then we can launch the project to tender. That might take some time, not a lot of time. It shouldn't take more than a month, and then we can really get things moving. But this really is the first phase, and obviously when we get that sorted out and we find out the actual quantity that the project will cost, because we're doing the drawings and the designs, we'd have to move forward to do another project to actually start the works.
DFA General Secretary Jasmine Vidal-Matthew, she says when completed, the DFA Technical Center will be better suited for hosting major activities.
So the project that we're doing now is the East Stand. So the East Stand will comprise of additional seating capacity, seats to the stands as well. The roof, I think that's one of the things that our patrons are really looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. The roof, 2 additional dressing rooms, a ticket booth, certain areas for storage, security, and those little. So the complete development of the east wing of the facility. And then on the western side, as contemplated from the master plan, would include things like a conference room, dormitories, kitchen, things to make the environment more camp friendly, essentially.
DFA General Secretary Jasmine Vidal-Matthew. Meantime, the DFA is hosting a sports medicine course on Saturday. The course is being held in an effort to build capacity within the clubs and to equip club personnel with the necessary skills and competencies to deal with football matches and training sessions. The course is taking place at the DFA Football House on Saturday. Sticking with some football news still, this time from the women's side, the Roosevelt Skerrit Bombers Starlights will begin the defense of their DFA Women's Premier League title as that tournament gets underway this weekend. The Bombers Starlights ended the impressive run of the New India Goodwill Runners on their way to winning their first title. The Women's League coordinator, Devon Coffey, says the DFA is looking forward to another exciting women's season.
This weekend we plan to launch the Women's Premier League. The first match will be held at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. That will be the defending champions, Roosevelt Skerrit Portsmouth Bombers versus Dubla FC. And we will have a second match on Sunday at the Technical Center at 4 p.m., which will be the All Saints University versus New India Goodwill Runners. Now, with the Women's Premier League last season, we had for the first time, we had 2 rounds of football being played in the Women's League. And actually, for the first time since its launch, we had a new champion as well, being the Roosevelt Skerrit Portsmouth Bombers. Now, we hope to continue that trend this year. We were projecting 10 teams to participate in this year's edition of the league. Unfortunately, one team couldn't meet the compliance to participate in the league, and we're back down to 9 like last year. So these are a few things we will look to strengthen, in particular with the women's teams for the next season.
Women's League coordinator Devon Coffey. Meantime, heading back to some males Premier League action in the DFA Premier League, this time from the men's side, continues tonight with the only game being played for the weekend in the Premier League. Sagicor Southeast takes on DSFC. That game should have gotten underway about 4 minutes ago, 6:30 start time at the DFA Technical Center. Well, we've come to the end of this evening's edition of the DBS News and Sports presentation. I was your presenter, Joseph Fadul. On behalf of the entire News and Sports department, once again, Joseph Fadul, I bid you a good evening.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business.